Hi, New Day. I just thought I would address you on the subject of our president announcing the reopening of churches from Monday. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7, the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. And whatever you get insight. That's Proverbs 4 verse 7. So this is a measured response to the president's announcement that churches can begin reopening next week and can gather with groups of up to 50 people within strict protocols. Firstly, we are appreciative and thankful that President Ramaphosa and his team have seen the value of faith-based communities in our country and that they are mindful of the role we all play. We as New Day Church want to take responsible, measured, wise, and faith-filled decisions going forward. The Great Commandment states that we love the Lord our God and that we love our neighbor as ourselves. The way we love ourselves is to prevent getting infected. And if we are infected, from infecting others. The way we express love for our neighbors is to do whatever we can to make sure they don't get affected at this point. As Christians, we have grieved and felt the loss of our inability of being able to meet in person as a church with one another. And we desire to meet again. But we must consider how to do so in safe ways that considers our most vulnerable neighbors, contacts, and friends. We don't want to help spread the virus. We want to help contain the virus while attending to the spiritual and material needs of those we can assist. It's important to remember that the church never actually closed. Just the doors to our facilities did. Over the last sort of 10 weeks, we as the disciples of Jesus have found ways to worship, to pray, to encourage, to witness, to disciple, and to serve in creative ways that have minimized the risk of COVID-19 transmission. We've gone online. We've moved our small groups to online video chats. We have found new ways to love our neighbors. We are still the people of God. We, not our buildings, not our facilities, are the real church. As we now enter the phase of our countrywide restrictions being loosened, we face difficult decisions as a church. How and when to resume live, in-person ministry, and how do we conduct those ministries safely and responsibly. We mustn't feel pressure to rush things while considering the needs of our own congregation and our community. We have a responsibility towards the vulnerable, the at-risk, and the aged, and we need to properly and wisely demonstrate the love of God towards them. As we look ahead towards gathering again, we're eager, we're excited, we're glad, but let's do it wisely. Reopening the building for meetings is a lot more complicated than simply opening the doors, putting on masks, and spraying sanitizer all over the place. This pandemic will pass in its current form, and we want to look back one day, and we want to be thankful that the Lord guided our actions and decisions. The Bible says that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. When we determine to open and start meeting again, some of our congregation are going to feel vulnerable and will choose to self-isolate for longer. Others will self-isolate not out of fear for themselves, but out of concern for others. Still others will feel rejection or alienation because of the government's stricture concerning the aged and the vulnerable and the at-risk people. We've already started getting messages from people saying, it's a pity we can't come because of our age. We really want to be there. Others, feeling the lack of community, the lack of fellowship, and the lack of support, are literally chomping at the bit to be a part of gatherings in whatever form we're able to put together. We are aware that the church, like the workplace, like schools, like shopping centers, is a high-risk activity and setting for COVID transmission. We do know that the virus can be transmitted before a person develops symptoms. We also know that not every infected person will infect another person. We also know that because older people are more susceptible to contracting COVID and children are less likely to display the symptoms, intergenerational contact should be minimized, again, to avoid transmission. We also know that younger adults with common chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, autoimmune disease have an increased risk of serious complications. The Bible says in 1 John chapter 3 and verse 18, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." Mindful of the fact that according to current statistics, 98 to 99% of the world will not suffer any physical consequences to COVID. But we are aware that everybody is suffering financial and emotional pressure because of this. And we also know that we as a church have a role to play in the message of Jesus Christ and in our ability to love others as we would love ourselves. So we as an eldership team are going to be working through the implications of resuming meetings and ministries over the next few days, and we will communicate them to you as soon as we can. We will be exploring Sunday meetings, training meetings, growth group settings, prayer meetings, counseling needs, the ongoing ministry towards the poor and the needy. So church, if we can ask, please be praying for us that we find the Lord's leading and the Lord's direction at this time. Keep enjoying all the vehicles we have provided for ongoing functioning of New Day Church in the meantime. And God bless you. We love you. Chat soon.